Yeah, it's half their screen. Oh,
Well, but I want to face my laptop, but like,
Okay, we're live.
okay, it's
Um,
live now.
okay, this is a great start. All right, welcome everybody to the Gridiron Report, giving you guys more off-season coverage. So we're gonna go straight into it with some of the most shocking news that the NFL has ever seen, and that I think we might ever report. Someone in their right mind actually wants to go to the goddamn Browns. Colin Kaepernick wants to go play for the Browns. He's got interest from Denver and a few other places, but he wants to play for the Browns. So should we get this guy in a padded room, or what do you guys think?
I think he just sees that's where his career's going. That's where careers go to die. He's got a dead career. And I mean, that's where they take shitty quarterbacks and they make them worse. I mean, look at Johnny Manziel. Bad quarterback and just made him worse. And that's what they do in Cleveland, and they're good at it. But in reality, I do think Kaepernick sees an opportunity there. He sees an opening. He knows San Francisco is not the place he's going to be. So, like, realistically, it's crazy to hear, but, like, it's something that he's got to do. It's somewhere that he's got to go. You got to have a job.
Okay, well, I'll go.
Yeah, there's a Bernie Sanders parade going outside my window right here.
Oh, okay. Well, good luck with that. So, yeah, with Kaepernick, it's strange because, like, before the offseason happened, I would have thought it's not the worst thing because they have a great offensive line. You know, they have Duke Johnson and Isaiah Crowell who are decent in the running game, but they've lost two all-pro offensive linemen. You know, they've already lost 6 unrestricted free agents in free agency. So the team that was already bad just got even worse. So I really don't understand his thoughts, and hopefully he goes somewhere else. Hopefully he even goes to Denver. But yeah, if he goes to the Browns, he's gonna be, you know, some guy that you say, oh yeah, remember him in 3 years.
I think I understand his logic, actually. I think he's going to be the guy on the Browns. He'll be the biggest name player they probably have there, which he was in San Francisco when they were going to the Super Bowl. He was their big name guy, and he wants that back, but he doesn't want to have to earn it. He just wants to be the guy right away. And they won't be expecting much from him because he'll be on a crappy team, so he will be able to hide all of his deficiencies there. So that's why he thinks he wants to go there.
But I think you're talking about being the guy, like we talk about Carmelo being the guy in the Knicks. Like, it's harder to be the guy on a football team. His stats, it's not like in the NBA where you can, his teams might suck, but he's still going to average 25 points per game. In the NFL, if your team sucks, it's not like you're going to throw for 50 touchdowns and 4,000 yards or something. I don't know how he hides his deficiencies.
Right. Well, I'm not saying he's going to be productive. He wants that build-up the whole year, that he's the guy there. He's their guy.
Yeah.
He wants to carry a load that not much is expected on. So if he wins 4 games, then he did a good job there.
No, you're right.
I guess. So from the Browns aspect, do you think like this is good for them, or do you think that they should go and get another quarterback and ruin his young career?
I think they need to, honestly, like, this isn't just, going too far with it. I think they need to change their name and change everything, because when you think Cleveland Browns, you think of that jersey with all the quarterbacks' names on it. It's one of those things that is almost, irreparable, or whatever the word is. You can't fix it. It's like what the Sixers are doing to the Sixers franchise. It's almost ruined the Sixers franchise. The Browns franchise has been ruined by bad coaching, by bad, terrible GM, and just terrible picks, and throwing guys into situations where they're never going to be successful. There's no way they can be.
I agree.
Yeah, I
agree.
I do like the new uniforms, though. The ones they've had the last couple of years. I like those. A lot better.
Yeah, they're pretty fresh. Yeah. Well, at least they got that going for them. They need something in that city.
They got Josh Gordon back this year too, don't they?
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue, because Josh Gordon sat out a year because he failed his another drug test. He failed because he was on weed. Just got reported this week that Martavius Bryant also going to miss a year this year for failing another drug test. I'm just gonna assume it was weed because that's what he got hit for last time. I'm assuming it's not something crazy like meth or heroin or something horrible. So with that in mind, you have Josh Gordon getting suspended for the year. You have Martavius Bryant. You have Le'Veon Bell. You have LeGarrette Blount. You have a bunch of other people. Should the NFL address the weed issue and just legalize it inside the landscape, or do you think the players need to own up and just say we're idiots for doing drugs?
You can't legalize it inside because there's no way that the NFL can say, well, even though this law is against the law federally, you can do it if you're a pro. If you're breaking laws, that's okay. They just can't do that. And I understand it's legal in some states, and it's going to be legal and legal in more states. Even still, I don't think that sends a good message to younger generation, because even though weed isn't as potent as heroin or cocaine, whatever, it still does bad effects on your body. And these guys who can smoke weed and still play at a high level are 1 in a million. If you're an up and coming athlete and you see, your favorite player is whoever, Martavius Bryant, and he's smoking weed, you're going to think that's okay to smoke weed. You're going to think you can be a great athlete if you smoke weed. And more often than not, we know that. We've seen people deal with that. That's not true. And drugs like weed, even though they're not like cocaine where they're going to kill you instantly, it's still not good for your body. I don't think the NFL ever legalizes it.
Yeah, I think it's really stupid. Just because a lot of guys do it doesn't mean they should just tailor the rules towards those guys because they want to do it. The only way I could see the players ever even winning this is if they made some kind of boycott where nobody wanted to play unless they legalize weed. But like Paul said, I don't know if that's legally possible to let guys in the NFL do it if it's against the federal law.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just say, not that they make it legal, but lower the punishment if it's just weed, because it's 4 games for I believe it's 2 games for your first offense, and then 4 it's either like 2 or 4 for your first offense, and then it's an entire year. Do you think they should, like, if it's just weed, like, just lower it a little bit, like an entire year for just smoking, 1 blunt, 1 joint? I'm personally against it. I still think it should be upheld, but what do you guys think?
Well, I think until they do that, I don't get how these
players. Shut up, Paul.
Yeah, I don't think. No, listen to me. I don't see how these players can be so damn stupid. I understand if you make a mistake once or twice, after your first suspension, you should never get suspended again for weed. I don't care. You're getting paid $5 million to play a damn game. To play a children's game, you're getting paid millions of dollars, and that can all get taken away. There's a lot of people who want your job, and you're going to put weed over that. You're going to retire at 32. You can smoke weed all you want. Move to California. Move to Colorado. I don't care. Give it 8 or 9 years where you're not smoking weed. If you can't make that sacrifice, you don't deserve to be in the NFL. Plain and simple.
Okay. First off, super debatable they're playing a children's game. These guys are like 6'5".
I know, but
at
the end of the game, though, it's a game.
But no, I agree with you. I agree with you. You're right. If you make one mistake, you get 2 games. And I'm sure these guys aren't just smoking 1 blunt. There's no way that's all they're doing. Yeah. They're smoking every day afterwards.
Right.
And then the next year, like Paul said, that is just so stupid. You know you're going to get drug tested again once you get drug tested once. You're going to get drug tested probably the rest of your career because they want to get you again.
Like if you can't give that up, that just speaks a lot about your character.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that they're suspending them games and not just fining them, because fining these athletes who are making millions of dollars does nothing to them because they don't give a
nothing.
They don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Now ruin their image like this publicly, that'll get to them, you would think.
Right.
Yeah. It is disappointing though to see probably 2 of the most electrifying young receivers who could be like, a lot of people compare Martavius Bryant to Randy Moss with how quick he is and how deep he can get down the field, and Josh Gordon had ridiculous seasons. Hopefully the younger talent gets off the weed, and it's just a couple of bad cases with these extremely skilled guys. So that's disappointing, but we'll move on. Get off the weed, as Stephen A. says. So the Broncos, they traded for Mark Sanchez. That's a sentence you just don't want to hear. What do you think the Broncos let their egos get to them and thought they didn't have to have this great quarterback because they got Peyton Manning to a Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl with him? Do you think they're like they just don't think they need a quarterback anymore, because why would you let Osweiler go and trade for Mark Sanchez?
Right, that's got to be the thinking, is that they can't. They think they don't need a quarterback. But the thing with Peyton Manning, sure, the stats weren't there, but I mean, he was crisis management. He was a game manager. He did what you needed him to do. Mark Sanchez, he could give up 6 touchdowns in a game. He'll throw 6 pick sixes in a game, a couple fumbles too, no questions asked. I think they're really being cheap at a time when they shouldn't. When if they have a decent quarterback, I saw today the other day they don't want to spend money to get Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though Fitzpatrick is expressing interest in going there. I mean, they get Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's an upgrade from Peyton Manning from last year. They're definitely should be the Super Bowl favorites out of the AFC. But yeah, I think they're really kind of getting cocky with how good this defense is. Granted, it's a great defense, but I think they're getting a little too cocky with it.
I don't think they're being cocky at all, actually. I think they got Sanchez for a bargain deal where they give him like a 7th-round pick, and that was it for Sanchez. I thought Sanchez was just as good as Bradford was the last couple of years.
Well,
I think Bradford would be plenty good enough for the Broncos to win. Yeah, no, but I think Bradford would be enough for the Broncos to win the Super Bowl this year. They didn't lose anything by getting Mark Sanchez. They're taking that chance, and there's nothing wrong with getting that chance. Like you said, they're paying Ryan Fitzpatrick, though. That worries me, because I think if they had Ryan with Fitzpatrick, they'd be really good this year.
Right.
Because I really like Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
But to say they're getting too cocky, I think they know that they barely slid by last year with a historical defense and a bad quarterback. So there's really nothing out there, though. Like we said in the last video, there's nothing out there. So it's taking a chance on Mark Sanchez sounds bad every other year. But this year, I mean, we're talking about guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick is a prized possession right now.
Right, well, but you also let Brock Osweiler go, who, you may say he doesn't have.
That was too much money, way too much money.
No, but I mean, if you're talking about you need a quarterback, you have this young up and coming talent who's been groomed by the Broncos for the past 4 years. He's been with Peyton Manning studying for 3 years. I mean, I don't get how you don't pay the man. It was perfect for him to step into the throne, to carry with that defense. He's been there, done that. He was 5-2 as a starter. And I guess trading for Mark Sanchez doesn't hurt them because of how little they gave up. But if that's how you're going to address the situation, then you're an idiot in the front office if you think Mark Sanchez can lead you to a Super Bowl.
Right. I agree.
See, they must have not thought Osweiler was the future there, though. They obviously, if they thought he was obviously.
You're cutting out, man.
Obviously.
Could you repeat that? You cut out.
What did I say there? Nobody heard anything?
Not a bit.
All right, Nick, you tried. That's what's important is you tried. I can't hear you now. Millsaps, let's go to the next part.
Okay. All right, so speaking of quarterbacks.
I was just pretending my words.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, I'm gonna throw one more thing in the Broncos thing before we get to our next subject. They're cap strapped, so they had to let Malik Jackson go. They had to let Danny Trevathan go. Two lesser known but very important pieces of that defense. So they let that go and the quarterback go. They have Mark Sanchez. Their defense won't be as good. They still have Von Miller. They still have a fantastic defense. But do you guys think they'll see any setback at all from the losses they have? Do you think it's like them and the Patriots are even now with the losses they've had, or do you think they're still above as of right now?
Oh, I still
think they would have said, Jesus Christ, Paul.
Go talk, Nick. Let's hear it. What do you got? Let's hear your fabulous insight, Nick. Let's hear it. Let's go.
All right, so what I was going to say is I think the Broncos were going to have a step back next year regardless of if they lost anybody or not, just for the sole fact that injuries are definitely going to occur this year. I think they were pretty fortunate last year with all that. And then every year, it seems like you can't hold together a complete defense. Like the Seahawks, they were solid for years, but they were never that super dominant defense they were the one year. They were dominant, but they weren't as good as that year. They're going to keep going down and down and down. They hit their peak already. And by the Patriots thing, I thought the Patriots were better than the Broncos last year, so I still think the Patriots are better than the Broncos.
Yep, I don't got shit to add. Next topic.
Okay, I agree with Damiani. I like Patriots and Broncos.
I want to hear that.
Back up.
All right, you girls, you're both pretty. All right. So, reportedly, a lot of teams still interested in Manziel. Um, you know, I would still want him on my team, but the condition is people want him to get his life back together first, take a couple months, get stable before training camp. So basically, the question is, do you ever think Johnny could get to that point where he's at almost like a Gronk level, where he's still known as the massive partier, but teams will just kind of let it go just because it's level enough to where he's okay, or do you think he's doomed?
I think he's doomed. I think he's thrown himself into that hole. I mean, you look at last year. I know Mills is going to have a bunch of stats for us, but he played 10 games and he had 11 turnovers last year. He just didn't get the job done, and he hasn't gotten the job done as a quarterback. And the thing I know, Mills, you always bring up, and a lot of people bring up, is, well, why is Gronk allowed to go party, and why is he allowed to do all this stuff? He doesn't get as criticized as Manziel because he shows up on Sundays, and Manziel has been known to literally not show up, literally not be at the stadium last year. That happened, right? Because he was in Vegas or something the night before. So if you can't even be committed, I know he was on a bad team, he was with a bad coach, a bad organization, whatever. But I mean, man, he has not shown the commitment to be a leader in the NFL, which is what you have to be a quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially at the position he plays, there's just going to be such a big spotlight on you that you cannot be that guy. Like Gronk's a tight end. Granted, Gronk's one of the best players on his team, but the quarterback controls basically the whole team, it seems like, for maybe showing up places. I do think somebody's going to give him another chance, but if they see one picture of him at a nightclub, he's probably going to get kicked off the team the next day. Because he's already built his reputation he's tarnished it so much that there's no way anybody could ever trust him again if they see him there, regardless of what he does with it.
Right.
All right, so let me pose this question to you because I'm a Manziel fan. Obviously, he didn't have.
Are you?
Yeah. He didn't have a good year last year. But there's always the talk, especially with Von Miller, their A&M buddies. He said, "Don't be surprised if you see him in the blue and orange." Would you be for him going to Denver, especially with what they've done so far? I'd take Manziel over Sanchez. I feel like that would be. I hope you guys agree with that. But I feel like him being with the Broncos and that Super Bowl defense, they just came off a Super Bowl. They got John Elway. They have Gary Kubiak. I feel like they'd whip him into shape, at least enough to where they wouldn't take his shit. They would throw him on the bench until he learned the hard way, but he would still get love from the team because I feel like they would like his attitude. I feel like he kind of fits in there.
Nick?
Did you say you'd rather have Manziel than Mark Sanchez?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I just think the upside is so much more
Mark
with
Sanchez.
Manziel.
Well, he's probably going to be in rehab for about a year at some point again, so you can't trust him to be there just play more than 2 games a week. So with that said, I want a quarterback that's going to consistently be there for me. And Mark Sanchez, if he's consistently bad, at least we know he's bad. I don't need Johnny Football giving me a flash 1 week and then he misses 3 weeks and just is all over the place and brings a lot of attention to my team, and we lose focus in other parts of the game instead of just the offensive end. Especially going to the Broncos, where they're going to expect a lot out of Johnny Manziel if he ends up being their starting quarterback, because that team's built to win right away, and Johnny Manziel hasn't won since his sophomore year of college. So I don't know if that's a good idea. You can go.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it would be crazy to not give him a chance. He was so talented at A&M. I mean, he's a football player. He's got a football mind. That's how they always say with basketball players too. Is if you're a basketball player, you can play good. You can rise up to that level. You can find a spot in the league, and that's like Johnny. He can find a spot in the league maybe, but it's just, does he want to? I know he was in a bad situation, like I said, in Cleveland. So, yeah, give him another shot for sure. It's like Tebow, give him a bunch of shots. But with Johnny, it just comes down to if he wants to play, if he wants to commit himself. And if he can, then whatever. I don't think he's ever going to be – I don't think he has as strong of an arm as Drew Brees. And Drew Brees is like the same height, same weight and everything, same measurements. I don't think he's ever going to, lead a team to a playoffs or a winning record. But, I mean, he could start another game or two.
Okay. I'm gonna say this. If Johnny signs with the Broncos, they'll go at least 11-5. At worst.
You think he's gonna be the starting quarterback all those games?
Yeah. Listen.
11-5?
Well, here, Lisa, you have to know this. In Cleveland, it wasn't just him being, a bad influence off the field. Mike Pettin fucking hated him. He didn't want him on the team. The coaching staff didn't like him. They never wanted him to be drafted in the first place. If the Broncos sign him, they'll want him. The defense will want him because they like his attitude and his fire. And with him playing in that defense, he'll have some recovery. He'll have a chance to, be Johnny Football. He can throw that 70-yard pass that might get picked off. But that defense will be there for him. So I feel like if he cuts it down a little bit off in the off field, the Broncos are the perfect place for him to be Johnny Football again.
Oh, man, 11-5.
But then is he really being a good quarterback, or are we just hiding his deficiencies through the defense?
Right.
I think he can grow because he'll have the ability to be himself and learn, but the defense will be good enough to carry him. Because we're talking about Peyton Manning, who he's not going to be worse than him than he was in the first 8 weeks. He threw 17 interceptions in the first 8 weeks. He was a 3 turnover a game guy. Johnny's going to be better than that. He can put up more on offense. They'll have a better running game. I feel like it's a good fit.
Man,
I feel like it's a place for him.
I really don't think he's ever going to get out of the partying scene. You had his dad, a couple months ago on talk shows on ESPN and stuff saying, I don't know, if my son's going to come home next week. I don't know, if I'll ever see him again or something. When you see, there's clearly people close to him. It's not just us perceiving it from the outside looking in. There's people from the inside looking in saying he's got real problems that he does not have any intentions of fixing. If he can fix those problems, look, he's 23 years old. He's got a long life ahead of him, but I don't know, sending him to a state with legalized weed, I just don't know, man. Doesn't seem like a good mixture.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got to cut off on some of the off-field stuff, and
Yeah,
I think some of it was too that he was just in Cleveland, and the fact that he knew the whole time that he was never wanted, and I feel like he was never pushed to be a good football player. He was always just. You're sitting behind Hoyer, you're sitting behind these other guys. You sent a text to our GM and he drafted you, and now, we don't want you. I feel like, he's got to. If he actually just falls in love with football again, I think that's what he's got to do. It's cliche as hell, but I think if he falls in love with football again. What?
At Cleveland. But then if he falls in love with the game that got him there, he'll come back. That sounds like a rom-com.
I don't know. I think we're writing him off 100% too quick. I think he's still got a chance because we haven't seen him on a second team. We've said that he's had these multiple chances, but he's really just been with the Browns. And can anybody who's been with the Browns say that they've had a good chance? Bill Belichick was on the Browns once, and everybody wrote him off and called him a worse coach. So I just want to see him with another team before we completely say, screw you, Manziel, you're done. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. I respect that, man.
Screw you, Manziel, you're done.
Okay, Nick. Thanks.
All right.
Nick Damiani, folks. Thanks.
Yep. The class.
Thank you.
You can follow him at whatever. Just go. Someone say this stuff. I don't know it.
At Crossover Report, at NFL_CR, at Walk-Off Report. We're on Facebook. Join our. This isn't even basketball, but
Yeah, promote it.
But join our basketball group. We're giving away a $15 Visa gift card. I don't know if we're allowed to do that, but we're doing it anyways.
Yep, go join it. Free entry. Everybody loves March Madness. You're gonna fill out a bracket anyways. Might as well fill out this one and get a chance to win $15. It's gonna be a good time.
Absolutely easy money.
Yeah, there's not gonna be a lot of people in the group because we haven't hit our stride yet. But just get in, get it on the ground floor. We'll sign it before we send it.
Get your hands dirty and get out. That's what we like to see.
All right.
Right?
Yep,
You
that's
guys
it.
got
That's all I
anything
got. Did you guys get anything else?
Nah, Nick might be frozen, so hopefully you can shut it off. That's all right. All right, y'all.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.